Greetings, humanity, and welcome one and all to Channel Other Doc. Where are we? Channel Other Doc. Had a few technical hiccups, but we're good now. I'm Jim. I use he/him pronouns, and this is our short campaign of Void's End, a spacefaring neo-noir tale using an amalgam of a few different tabletop game systems. We're using Dirty Secrets by Seth Ben-Ezra for the structure of our investigation. We used Jason Morningstar's Durance to help create our location. And because we're playing online, we're borrowing from In a Wicked Age by Vincent Baker for the conflicts. Let's go ahead and go around and introduce everybody once again. I'm going to ask folks to tell us who you are. And since we had what seemed to be some sort of covert thing happening last time, a group of covert people, possibly cultists, possibly not, turning up last week. I thought I would, the question today will be to tell us your favorite secret society, cult, or shadowy organization from fiction, movies, TV, video games, tabletop games, etc. Or again, and if not your favorite, then one that you like, or one that you don't hate. And let's start once again with Alyssa. Hello.
I am your friendly internet spinner of yarns and teller of tall tales, and I don't know if it's my favorite because I forgot about the question until like a few minutes ago, but the first one that popped into my head was there's a Netflix show called The Order, where there's like this secret magic society at a college and also a fraternity of werewolves for some reason.
I mean, these sorts of things happen at college. That's where most lycanthropy starts, I think. It's just how it happens. Excellent. And now let us head over to Lloyd. Hello.
Hello everybody. Hi, this is me. It's Lloyd. I'm just a guy. Don't mind me at all. But I would like to say that my personal favorite secret society in all kinds of media is the Hellfire Club from the Marvel Comics. Not the Hellfire Club that actually existed as a high-standing, over-the-top toffee thing that, like, I don't know, rich white people did in the 1700s. Ignore that. It's more about rich white people doing it in comics. It's much better this way. So the Hellfire Club, for you don't know, are like a bunch of really rich people with superpowers who can essentially do what they want, and what they want to do is just mess with the world, because rich people with power means nothing. They have all the power, they have all the strength, but they just like to experiment and try new things. And the idea, which is really great, that I really enjoyed, is that there's all these people who, all of them are like the inner circle of like all this incredible power. Like the power is not just I have superpowers, I also have money, but it's not enough for them. They must do other things to keep themselves entertained. And by doing so, they care not about what happens to society. That we'll do what we want. No one can stop us. If we decide that the world should end today, it should end, because that's what we decided with the Hellfire Club. Do what we want. It's great. And that's what makes them so strong to me. That's what I like about them, because they're ruthless and slightly cunning and 100% bad guys.
Nice. Excellent. And now we will head over to Darcy. Hello.
Hey guys, I'm Darcy. I use she, they pronouns. Writer, DM, cosplayer, all of that stuff. You can find me on Instagram at OG Hijabi Barbie. Currently, the only thing I'm focused on is getting through this secret little tale that has taken us the past couple of weeks, and just excited to see where this goes. I had to think about the cult question because I had a huge mind blank. I was thinking cults. It's like, what have I watched that has cults in it? And then like everything came back to me after I'd already made the decision to say the Cult of Cosmos from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I just thought the whole idea of having just a network of influential individuals, and some of whom weren't just like rich politicians, like some people who were just like bruisers, or people who were like of the streets, and having them all dedicate themselves to a single cause of like control and chaos of the old Greek world. It was something interesting and surprising. So I thought it was, and the twists in the game also made me kind of enjoy unwinding a cult's spool, so to speak.
Excellent. No, absolutely. That is very cool. And now we will head over to our investigator, Bliss. Hello.
I'm Casa, Bliss in the game, and I'm the reason that we're all late today, so I'm very sorry.
Oh, no.
But that's the last of being sad about it. Now we're here, and the organization, I focused more on organization, but they're kind of a cult too. The Diamond Dogs from Metal Gear Solid, or the Metal Gear series, they control the whole government, and they from behind the scenes, so no one knows who they are. They're just puppet masters, kind of. I think that's pretty cool that they don't want to take credit for anything, but they just want to make the moves. So yeah, that's fine.
Very cool. I'm sorry I jumped right to your character name instead of your actual name. I don't know what's happened. Yes, I think that, as I think people who have been watching this channel for a little bit probably are already terrifyingly aware of, I do have an interest in the history of spies and the spy genre that I seem to have developed over the last decade. And so at the moment, probably one of the shadowy organization I have been most interested in has been from the John le Carré novels, The Circus, basically, which is essentially a mashup of MI5 and MI6, basically, where you get it's where you have all the Smiley novels taking place and all of that, and so it's just sort of interesting seeing kind of just showing the pressures that that kind of work can have on people psychologically, and that delves deep into that, and it's just very cool and very interesting, and it's just sort of neat to see how they operate. But once again, like we do with most of the other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, hold up a card, make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom video chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anyone needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may contain player versus player roleplay and discussions of noir tropes, murder, theft, blackmail, organ harvesting, child endangerment, and non-graphic injury, law enforcement, colonialism, and survival in a hostile environment. You can see that at any time by going in the chat and typing !VECW, and that will bring it up. I believe I also have that on rotation, but I'm going to double check to make absolutely sure, because I did not check it before we started. But let's see. Now let me go ahead and add that in. So the command VECW, that'll show up periodically in the chat, and so that folks can be reminded of that. Also, just as a quick reminder, we have an open door policy, which means any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It is just a game, and mental health is always more important. So, as we look into last time, what happened last time, I actually wrote this all out in the Discord so that I would be able to just look at it now and remember. Bliss got a lab tech to let her out of the locker she had been trapped in the oxygen plant, from which she had obtained these 3 mysterious tapes. She then went and talked to Echo about Complex in an effort to see if Echo knew anything about her. The answers seem to indicate that Complex didn't have many connections with anybody aside from just hanging out with Artie. That was about it. And then Bliss went to the hospital to find birth records for Complex's child to try to sort of see her way through to tracking that info down to ensure the child's safety, because again, Complex is only going to talk if the child is safe. And thus far, Bliss has only received some sort of just mild hints from Complex about it as to where she would need to go or what she'd need to look for. Bliss fooled the security system into setting off the fire alarm and then managed to grab some file data, namely that Governor Cassandra had a good deal of it erased. Cassandra was the one apparently trying to remove that information, but Bliss did manage to get a record of Cassandra's data authorization codes in the process. And she's now carrying a little AI with her, whose purpose was to help conceal information, so that works out. So then Bliss went down from the hospital down into the city archive. The hospital is one of the government buildings you can get down there from. It is a city employees only subterranean facility where all the city's backup records are kept, and it's from all the different various departments in the city. She snuck in, managed to grab the files she needed, though she hasn't had time to go through them yet, and then witnessed people in kind of cultish-looking clothing. There were these sort of these big sort of white space cloaks, shiny space cloaks, and helmets that they were wearing, obscuring their faces. They walked through into the heavily guarded city science hub, which is located coincidentally underneath the oxygen plant. An intruder alarm then went off, and Bliss tried to run, but was grazed by a pulse laser fire and captured by the Colonial Marines, who led her out of the archive. And that is where we left off. I will just say briefly that once again I messed up last week with the rules when I pushed directly to a violence conflict, because you actually can't do that. You can switch to a violence conflict if you push something, but unless you start out as a violence scene, which as a violence sequence, which an authority can do, unless you actually started out explicitly as a violence sequence, then you're doing an investigation sequence, and that should have been an investigation conflict. Things could easily have come about the same way, and I don't think we need to retro it or anything, because the mechanics are largely the same. It was just the violence resolution that was different. She was only grazed, so I think we'll be able to move on, as it was just a superficial injury, pretty much. So, we will go ahead and do that and set up our next scene. So that means that Alyssa is the authority, and Cassie, you may pitch a scene.
Just a little replay of last time.
Sure.
I also went to Echo. I also went to Echo to ask for a tape player for the tapes, because we hadn't heard the tapes yet. And in saying that, I want to say that before I went off and did my investigation, I left the tapes somewhere there.
Somewhere at Echo's
they're not
place?
on me. Yeah. Or in the backstage.
Yeah, we kind of skipped past, because you were supposed to, at 3 a.m. or something, there's going to be a thing where you're going to listen to them. And we haven't seen that happening, so I'm assuming that for whatever reason didn't happen in and of itself, as we sort of skipped past to the next day with the next scene. So what do we think? Are we good with saying that I
don't have.
I mean, Alyssa's the authority right now, so are we okay with the tapes that being at Echo's place?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure nothing nefarious will happen to them while they are there, because Echo is absolutely trustworthy.
Rather there than, but I hid them somewhere, so she doesn't know unless she looks through. Hopefully. But the scene, since I've gotten caught, I have, it's either I'm on the way to where they want to bring me, or if if where they want to bring me is inside the building or in like somewhere that I don't need to go, I don't have any time to like figure out what to do, then in the interrogation, whoever's interrogating me, or like when I'm there being asked questions, because I'm sure they're gonna ask me questions.
Okay. So I'm thinking they probably take you inside, like put you in an interview room, you know, with the secret window mirror. And let you, you know, sit there for a while. And you know, you probably hear something about like Judge Advocate Mercy coming to speak with you. But perhaps word has been passed up the command chain. And perhaps the governor herself comes in to have a word.
Okay, that's throwing me. Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, you may.
I feel like the way we have described Cassandra, she wouldn't go out of her way to come down to her,
she
right?
will appear via hologram, I'm sure.
We could, or we could have her go up to her instead. We could have them take Bliss to her. That could also work.
That's true.
Hologram also works fine.
Upstairs.
Both work. I just thought I'd suggest that. Just throwing it out there. Please carry on.
Well, Darcy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think a hologram or bringing Cass up makes the most sense. I think Cassandra's the type of person that wouldn't bother themselves with coming all the way down, because I think at this point they wouldn't register Bliss as a proper threat.
Yeah. I had a tiny thought here, because
Yes.
about which option, because I feel as though I think that the governor would probably only have Bliss brought to her if she felt there was something important to be gained.
Yeah.
But if it's something where there's something minimally important that she has to be involved in some reason, and just sort of wants a little bit of information as to doesn't know whether there's something important to be gained or not, then I think a hologram would be more likely.
Yeah.
I have
That's
a
just
counter offer for that.
Oh?
The counter offer is this would be the first time that the audience is seeing Cassandra in full. Would we not want the audience to see her in her element?
We could do both. It could be a big hologram.
A really
Where suddenly
giant blown up head.
Where it's like, well, no, I don't mean big that way. I mean wide. It could be like you're in the room and then suddenly it's like you're in her office.
Oh, like a kind of projected hologram
Yes,
into the room where it almost transforms the room.
Transforms.
Also means that you don't have
no,
to
that
touch
would
her,
be
which
crazy.
is great.
Yeah, no.
Let's do that. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So, Bliss, you're sitting at this small table, and then all of a sudden, you hear just like a ping, and the room around you appears to transform. It suddenly seems much bigger. The desk, the table that you're sitting in front of is no longer a metal table, but like a luxurious, like mahogany antique desk. Plush furniture and carpet all around you, and a big, posh office chair across on the opposite side of the desk from you, that is empty for a moment, and then Cassandra materializes in the room, perhaps in the chair.
Oh.
So, I guess Cassandra kind of sitting in the chair. Cassandra will lean forward, and she has a cup and saucer in her hand, just stirring. She leans forward and be like, "Now, aren't you a waste of time?"
I don't think my friends would say that, but perspective is in its own field. Do you think I'm a waste of time? What do you know about me?
Sitting back, Cassandra kind of pulls a disgusted face, and it's like, personality, the tool of the poor.
Well,
Goes,
everyone's got to start somewhere.
So you're the little detective that's been caught using my personal login credentials.
I knew that would stir up some flags, light up some flags. I just didn't think it would take you so long, really.
It's kind of like a recoil moment, almost as Cassandra's not used to anyone kind of talking so freely in front of her. There's a kind of like I'd say almost a monitor type screen on her side of the desk that she's looking at, and her eyes kind of glaze back to it and then said back to you, "How about you tell me how you came to own my credentials? Let's start there."
I mean, for one, you probably should hire a better tech guy or team that sorts out all this cyber stuff. It's pretty easy if you know what you're doing, right? So it was as easy as just looking at it on a piece of paper, really. Ma'am.
With like a raised brow, she looks at you and goes, "You don't look nearly smart enough to hack our security. So let's try again. How did you get the credentials, Bliss?"
You know my name. I mean, then if you know how easy it is to find out someone's name, information, it's not entirely impossible, especially if you've got friends, right? Do you have any friends, Cassandra? Or do you want me to call you something else?
With like a sly look on Sandra's face, and she goes, "Friends? Funny you should mention that. I've actually procured a few new ones myself." And materializing in the chair next to you is a restrained and angry Echo.
Oh, this is not a good look for you, is it?
Look who's talking, sugar.
Yeah, no, we're really in the deep of it. Let me reverse this, Cassandra, and then I kind of just lean in and say, why don't we become friends?
Friendships require something that you can offer each other, and you have nothing to offer me.
Are you sure about that?
kind of raises a brow and goes, well, what do you have?
It might be what you don't want people to have. I'm not saying that I'm the best detective on this planet. I'm sure you have many others, but weren't you bothered about someone and stealing something? Aren't you worried about what if someone knew what that was?
She kind of Cassandra kind of shifts a little bit, but only ever so slightly. Enough for Bliss to pick up on, but you can see the kind of slight discomfort you've kind of instilled in her, and she kind of shifts. Well, it seems we're at an impasse here, because I have something of yours, and you have something that I want.
Right. So, by your definition, we could have a friendship starting here, right? You have something to offer, I have something to offer. I just really think you could benefit from a friend like me, and I definitely, of course, could benefit from someone like you.
Cassandra leans in and says, friends, and she gives you a type of grin. And it's not so much a grin, more as a wild animal would show you their teeth before sinking their fangs into you. And she says, well then, friend, how about we make our meeting more official?
Absolutely.
There's a buzzing, and there's you hear kind of a voice or an intercom within the room, and it's like, transfer the detective into transport custody and bring her to my tower, and make it quick, and don't waste my time with interrogation again. She stands up, and so does the kind of visage of Echo. And she turns back forward, like to look at you once more, and says, look forward to meeting you, friend. And she kind of materializes out, as does Echo.
Oh, don't worry, Echo. I'm coming. Into the air.
In the plain, small interview room.
Oh.
And some officers come in to escort you to the elevator.
Hey, I'm going. Just, yeah. They're close though, right? Like, pretty close.
Yeah. They're gonna probably keep a pretty close eye on you.
I'm going. So yeah.
Should we continue the scene to the tower?
I think it'd be good either way. That could be the scene, or what do we think?
True. We are changing locations.
It feels like that
Well,
felt like a good
in between?
sort of solid scene,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we could see. Of course, well, it depends. Of course, that means that if we end the scene now, then what happens next is largely up to Lloyd.
Here we go again.
Time for people to die. Woo!
How do we feel?
I kind of wanted to do something as we were going, but
how many scenes do we have left?
Well, if this is a scene, then she's going to move the pawn, and so that'll be one. And that'll be the end of this chapter. We'll have another chapter, and then she moves the pawn again, and then the grid will be filled up.
Start rolling.
At which point, the next time she moves, she has to roll.
So I feel like this scene should continue because it's already been established what's going to happen. I know it's a change of location, but to make it better, how about we have the camera stay on Cassandra and like the time lapse, and then we see bliss coming in. So
happening
then
on
the
the
camera,
side with Echo.
Yeah, treat it as a
technically
single
the
scene.
camera
Yeah.
doesn't change.
Yeah,
So
and,
it's-
yeah. No, we can treat it as a single scene. We did that last time actually because there was not much happened in the first little bit. So yeah, we could totally
So
do that again.
I want to give them a chance to conclude and not have me just come in and be like, time to fix things. Like,
That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, if Alyssa's good with it, then we'll keep going.
Works for me.
I just had one little thing. I don't know how to put it in, but I kind of wanted. I don't know if it'll work, but I wanted to get a message to Bull. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to save my own hide, and like at least someone knows what's going on with me, and someone who's high up, I guess. And I'll tell him that I've got information, and he wants that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
how to put that in.
there is also a kind of semi-loose thread here, which is that since you were in the archive, you were collecting data, but you were also collecting information for Artie. So whether or not you downloaded that information, do you have a way to contact him?
Yeah. Well, Bull did give you his information, his contact, his direct line before you left. I don't know if they would have searched you and taken your device or not, though, by this point.
Yeah.
But it's up to Alyssa whether or not you could have had some a means or an opportunity to do that, or maybe before you sat down. It's whatever she thinks. It's an option.
Or you could shut me down completely and say,
Yeah,
"You're in
I
this."
imagine they probably would have confiscated your personal effects while you were sitting in the interview room,
Although-
lest you attempt to stage a dramatic escape. But
Yeah. Unless you want to say that the AI is doing it for you, but that's something else also.
Yeah.
I
may
mean, that
not
was in
know-
my mind.
Yeah,
I was
'cause
going to tell him to send a message.
they
but-
don't know that
Cyberpunk.
they don't necessarily know that McCarthy's on there, but
She did ask you multiple times. She prompted you to answer, but you never gave up, McCarthy. So, to everyone else's knowledge, McCarthy and his likeness is deceased.
that's true.
They do not know about Pocket McCarthy.
They don't.
The travel safe
Right.
companion.
that being the case, though, also then you probably wouldn't know whether it's happening or not. At that point, I don't know, unless you gave him instructions beforehand to be like, please call for help. I'm sorry, I'm
that's
just throwing
what I
out
was-
ideas. Alyssa, it's entirely up to you.
There's also, since the Pocket McCarthy is a sentient being in his own right, who's to say he's not already aware of what's been going on and already hacked into the feeds?
Well, I suppose that is a question for Pocket McCarthy. One we made, to which we made to find the answer at an appropriately dramatic moment.
Probably.
In the meantime,
I'm there already. Knees deep.
so in the
I think
meantime,
maybe it should follow the transfer. So I guess she, as Cassandra fades away, she did call in these for you to be transferred into the, I guess, custody of another sect, group, department. So I guess you're being placed. We can follow you being moved into another, I guess, holding cell. Maybe you have a time for a moment of reflection. Who knows? That is something we
do that
we
too.
have yet.
Oh yeah. One of the questions I had about reflect. Oh, but we're still in the middle of a scene, so we can't.
Yeah. The reflection scene is something you can call for at the beginning if you need to recover a dice, which you do. But it's up to. I don't remember a thing. I will look up some things on that while we while this is going on. But yeah, right now you're in the middle of an investigation scene, and again, Yeah. So Alyssa can pretty much decide how how things are going right now.
So I imagine it probably takes a couple of minutes. It probably doesn't take too long since Cassandra doesn't like to have her time wasted or be kept waiting. But you probably have a couple of minutes for them to assemble an escort for you.
Like a few minutes alone, a few
Yeah,
seconds
probably.
alone.
Still in the interview room.
But they've taken all my stuff, so I'm really just a sitting duck. I think I'm just gonna have to talk my way out of it.
Yeah.
Flash forward to talk. And that's just me.
All right. So after a few minutes pass, the guards come in. They're probably most likely armed. They probably sort of like escort you like to a discreet service elevator so as not to draw a whole lot of attention. Perhaps take you to a shuttle out the back and, tinted windows, take you to the tower, escort you to the elevator as discreetly as possible. And then, you have that awkward trip up to Cassandra's office. If there's anything you would like to attempt to do. Make awkward small talk.
Quick point of clarification: is this a different tower that's like inside the dome, or are we actually going back to the tallest tower again for this? Because I thought that was more apartment blocks and then offices, and then we don't know what's at the top. But
wherever the governor's tower is, I guess.
That's cool. Do you want to put that inside the dome, or is that somewhere else? I'm just curious.
That would maybe be like, wouldn't it be like kind of the central building, like, the big kind of...
I was thinking maybe something like that, but that's...
Yeah, it would be like kind of central to everything else. Maybe, one of those surrounding windows in the office where you can look out the sea at every angle.
Penthouse-like thing.
Real bad
maybe.
Guy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Villain's penthouse, yeah.
I'm in my villain era. Let's go.
Office penthouse. Sorry, go ahead.
Floors slowly ding by, and eventually the elevator opens at the penthouse, for which you obviously need a key card to get you up that high, but you're with an escort. So they sort of gesture for you to step out, and then they'll kind of fall into step, like flanking you as they walk you into the office. You are greeted with a familiar scene.
As I walk in, I'll say, Cassandra, your office looks much better in real life. But, I think you should put some, like, art or something on the walls, just to brighten up the place a little bit.
Seems your character hasn't dimmed.
Oh, that's what my teacher said.
I guess I gesture your armed escorts to the chair opposite the one which and now a bit I would say more worse for the wear Echo is sitting still restrained in the chair opposite. Why don't you take a seat?
Yeah, I'll just stroll on up to the seat, kind of pat Echo on the shoulder and give her a smile, and just cross my legs, lean back, really relaxed, even though inside I'm not.
Your demeanor kind of, you can tell it irks Cassandra. So it twitch of the eye, a little strain of the pulled lip in the corner. This is a woman that doesn't like things out of order, her order, so to speak. She sits forward and she pushes like two. She pushes like a teacup to you, and says, "Please, won't you drink with me?"
You got anything stronger than tea?
Stronger things are reserved for closer friends.
Right. Baby steps. We'll start from tea. Move up. And I'll kind of just put it to my lip and kind of smell it. I don't know if it's safe. But I'm just gonna look at her, kind of just like. Yeah.
If I wanted you poisoned, I would have done it in a far worse way. She says it with a face where you could believe that, just no shred of emotion.
Yeah, I believe that. No, just take a sip. It's pretty nice. I'll have to get some of that.
Would you believe that it's grown right on the planet?
Now that you tell me, I'd be a fool not to believe it, right?
You have a feeling that this is launching into a bit of a monologue moment for Cassandra. She gets up and she looks the two of you sitting in the chair, and she stands up and she paces and she just looks at the window behind her, hands folded behind her back. When they first tried to colonize this planet, nothing could be grown. Air was too toxic and so was the ground. But there were ways to... And she turns and looks at you and says, adapt. Because that's what the strong do. She comes closer and she kind of leans forward on the desk. And things have been running swimmingly ever since. And that's why I hate to see anything fall into disarray. She sits back in the chair and says, now why don't you tell me exactly how you got those credentials, friend?
Okay, I didn't want to put any of your friends, your employees under the bus, but someone just left it open on the computer. Literally anyone that walked past could have seen it.
Cassandra kind of looks at you and she tilts her head and she goes, wrong answer, friend. And she just presses a kind of like a key, not a key, more like a small button on a monitor near her, and you just feel a jolt of pain running up through your spine.
Whoa, that's not good.
She kind of tilts back. She says, you should be more careful of your surroundings. The guard was able to add a small neurobite to you. Now I can run anywhere from 5 to 30 volts through you. He also gave me this, and from her drawer she pulls out your belongings. So your space phone, your gun, and kind of the funny space toy you had from the hospital earlier, and it's placed all by her monitor on the table in front of you, just out of arm's reach. Cassandra looks up. There seems to be kind of an alert on her monitor, and she kind of stands and she says, won't you excuse me for a moment? I'll give you some time to think about your answers. And she kind of leaves the office. So it's just you and Echo in a chair, but you're both kind of arms width apart.
And there's no one else in the office.
No, just behind the door. I'd say there's the your armed escorts.
Echo, whatever I say to her next. You just have to go along with it. I'm really trying to figure out a way to get us both out of here. So yeah, follow my lead, I guess. I mean, I'm already there. No, I'm gonna leave the stuff. I'm not gonna take the stuff. Just gonna chill, show that I'm a trustworthy friend. I'm just chilling and yeah, swinging my arms a little, stretch into a little.
Alyssa?
Yes, Jim.
It occurs to me that if we we have two different roads we can go down here. One is that either that happens and the conversation continues. The other way is that some kind of distraction happens now, and that's just my thought at present. But how do you feel?
Well, I mean, there is sort of a distraction happening that has taken the governor out of the room, so we might as well take advantage of it.
Do you think now would be a good time for like the lights to go out or something to signal that, or is that?
Perhaps.
I
mean,
my coffee
isn't changes.
Yeah,
lights going out, alarms going off, something like that. But that's again just a suggestion. Whatever you want to do.
The phone is right next to the monitor, so
could be hopping over there.
All right. Well, in that case, Bliss showing remarkable restraint and not attempting subterfuge for once in her career, and all of a sudden, a few more alerts pop up on the monitor, and then suddenly everything goes dark.
Echo.
Did you do that?
I mean, I wish, I had hope, but also we're still just stuck in this room. And then, now that it's dark.
Don't sit there, untie me, sugar.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Ooh. Quickly, like, using the tool and cutting through the ties that are around. Cool. Yeah, stretch your arms. Yeah, I'm gonna take this as a sign as I walk around the monitor and open the phone.
How many guards are outside?
2, I guess. Two brought me here.
Oh, we could take just 2.
And then we have to get out of the building.
I think
just like old times. Yes.
I was going to say, I think that probably if you open the phone, maybe that you'll see McCarthy's face on it, and it'll just basically he's not gonna say anything out loud right now, but you're going to see sort of words form on the screen in front of him. It's like I bought us a little time, but you have to go now. And yes, there are 2 guards out there.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
So.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a weapon?
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, you may.
Yes, Lord.
Before you leave, I mean, you have access to Cassandra's main room. Is there really nothing here you could take that could help you solve your case?
Yeah. I
mean, it depends on what Alyssa says. But could there be something they could get here to help? Because we're getting close to wrapping up. We might as well get something from this room, right?
I mean, that's why I opened the phone. I kind of wanted to see if he could hack the computer. So, or I could just go on the computer.
I mean, the lights going off is a signal of either a power outage or power failure, kind of rerouting or such. So I get, yeah. So I don't know if it's was it his prerogative to maybe like lock off the door? Was it like locking the door that Cassandra has walked out of and keeping that door open? So so they're able to escape, but she's now trapped behind this door? Or is it a case of the power's out completely, so the electronics are not able to work the way they're working?
Yeah, McCarthy, what's up?
Okay, well, this could also be simple. It's like I think I sensed a drive stick down there just before the power went out. You might want to grab that one before you go.
Oh yeah.
More pieces of data for us to look at later.
Yeah.
Oh, as long as I'm not the one whose turn is looking at, I don't care. Bye.
I guess I'm gonna say that there are a bunch of drives, or like a few of them, and I don't know which one it is. So I'm just gonna pick up.
Grab the first thumb
All
drive
up.
you get your hands on, and let's go.
She started robbing all her USB sticks.
Yeah.
Gotta get an iPod, gotta get music,
Yeah.
gotta get videos, gotta get a YouTube channel, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if there's anything else in her room that might look nice and shiny.
There probably is.
So you're gonna rob the
Spend too much
You're
time
gonna-
fumbling
You're
around.
gonna
Yes.
rob something
The
very
guards
visual
are
in her room.
coming.
Just
I'm already
to
in
rub
trouble.
her
There's probably a picture of her or something, a mini statue of her.
Oh my
like,
She's the type to have like a bronze or gold statue of herself, like holding a globe, like the planet,
no.
just looking out
Oh my
on the
God.
shelf as a bookend.
I
we're not
tip it
taking
over.
that.
I tip it right over.
You're like,
knock it
And
over.
falls.
The
that's the
little
one.
arms.
That's the
the little
one you're
arms
like,
just
nah,
break
mate,
and the
nah,
globe
nah, ignore
falls
that
out.
one. Ignore that one. Next one. Sorry, Alyssa, carry on.
Yeah.
So Bliss asks Echo if she's got a weapon, and she just picks up a paperweight off the desk.
Diamond or something. It's a huge diamond.
So it sounds like we're heading into a conflict as we try to get past the guards and sneak out of the building. So
I believe in you.
Alrighty. Conflict. There we go. Okay. So, once again, I presume you would like. Would you like me to do as I have been doing, or are you good?
feel free.
Okay. So, back to the conflicts. So once again, we were first thing, establish the goals. What is tell us what your goals are. Starting with Casa.
We're gonna try to open the door and no, we're not gonna try. We're gonna open the door and see if the guards are out there. If there is, then one of them is gonna come in through the door, and then we'll try to attack that one at a time.
Well, what is your ultimate
Or
goal?
two.
What
Also
is
leave.
I
to
imagine
escape?
our goal is to escape the room and try to find a way out of the building, right?
Okay. And Alyssa, what's your goal?
My goal as the authority would be to try to prevent that.
Anything else that you to change the fictional positioning, or is that you just stop her from getting away?
To probably stop her from getting away and potentially try to call for backup if she makes trouble, which I'm sure she will.
Righto. Okay. Now that's enough, and you can set if you need more details later. So, time to set the public violence die. This is an investigation sequence still. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the red die. We've landed on a 2, so that's the current public violence die. Now, moving forward to the next part, the form dice. So, right now, Alyssa is, according to the chart here, Alyssa is rolling a d10, Casa is rolling a d8. I'm already starting at a little bit of a disadvantage. So, the first round, so we're going to go to the first round. Both players will roll their dice. Let me know before you do so, however. Let me look at this. Are either of you aiming for violence in this scene?
Did you say that we can't start with violence?
Well, the violence rules that I was using, no. The violence sequence rules last time. That because I made a mistake and jumped to the violent to a violence conflict. This is not a violence conflict. But strangely enough, you know, if I ever take this the bones of this system and decide to turn it into something else for whatever reason, or just sort of make a new thing based on this, then I'm going to find new names for everything. But the more I do this, if violence, but in an investigation conflict, you still have violence dice. There's still a chance of violence happening. And you can still aim for violence in in a regular conflict, even if it's not a violence conflict. And so that's sort of what I'm asking is, are either of you aiming for violence?
Yeah, I'm aiming for violence.
You're aiming to hurt someone. Okay. Yeah. So then go ahead and move one of the red dice on there and set it to a 2.
Okay.
And Alyssa, are you aiming for violence?
Imagine, like, going into it, the guards are probably just trying to restrain her because...
Yeah. Well, that's totally
they
doable.
haven't been ordered and otherwise yet.
Okay, so you will be rolling your violence die. Again, Casa just set hers out there, so there's a higher chance of violence if there are any 2s at the end in the winning roll. So,
okay.
That means so now it is time.
I don't roll my violence die.
Yeah, so Casa, you do not roll your violence die. Alyssa, you do. So,
okay.
Go ahead and you will roll your dice. Remember, neither of you have advantage right now, and again, Casa's rolling a d8, Alyssa's rolling a d10 as their primary form die.
Come on, 8. Ooh, 7. Not bad.
Okay.
And it's a 2.
No, that was the token. You don't actually have to roll the token. You just hit the conflict roll.
Button.
Yeah. No worries.
Okay. No advantage dice. Yes, roll violence die. There we go.
Okay. So Casa has a 7, and you have a 4 as your highest die, which means that Casa is currently the one challenging. So that means, then once again, the higher roll stands. Casa, what is your challenge? What is this sliver of the narrative like that you're trying to do here?
I'm gonna
slip up behind. You do have your gun back now.
Yeah. I'm gonna get up close to one of the guards and try to pistol whip him. Just like whack with the back of my gun into
with
the
door open. Crack.
Awesome. Alrighty. So now that means Alyssa, you must answer, and so you re-roll your dice.
Okay.
And just the same as before, you're still rolling your violence die, and unless you decide at some point to aim for violence. You roll again, and we'll see what you get. Okay. Again, you have a 4, which you're still in it, but Casa has beat you this round. So what in your answer, you narrate how. Let's see, your roll is less than the challenger's, but more than half. So you've lost the advantage. Casa gets the advantage. So what's the next portion of narration where Casa gets the advantage?
Okay, so I feel like she and Echo have taken the guards by surprise and managed to knock one of them out. So now the second one is kind of backing up and trying to fumble for his weapon, try to get a draw on them, and now it's 2 against 1.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, next round. So once again, Casa, you're when we roll again, Casa, you will have an advantage die. So you're still rolling a d8, but then you're also rolling one advantage die, and again, not rolling your violence die. Alyssa, you're a d10 and rolling your violence die, and we go again.
Oh, so 5.
Yep.
Mm.
It's a 5 versus an 8. So Alyssa is challenging this round with her 8. So Alyssa, what is your challenge this round?
Okay. So I'm thinking the guard is probably going to get a couple of shots off while attempting to radio for backup.
Okay. So the guard is firing at you. And so once again, Casa, you pick up your dice and you get to roll again so we can see what your answer is. Did you roll your advantage die?
No, do I still have it?
Oh, you rolled 0. Yeah, you still have it. You still have the advantage die. Just roll a d6 for me. For us.
Oh, that was 2. Oops.
Okay, so you have a 5, and can you just roll a d6? Can you go up to the
Oh,
like d20 icon and hit the d6 button?
I should have done that earlier.
4. Okay. So 5, and it was still, you had a 5 before. 6, 7, 8, 9. So you actually managed to beat the 8. So you retain your advantage. So you're keeping that. Also, that means in your primary form die, you're rolling against a higher die. This means, finally we get to use this mechanic. You get a banked advantage die. So you can grab, now you can grab one of those blue dice and drag it into your banked advantage area there.
Yeah.
Which if I have a second, I'll try to display that. So yes, that means that your answer means you retain your advantage. So what is your answer here as we go into a third round?
I'm gonna run at him and just tackle him so he doesn't get or her doesn't get to call for backup. Just like football tackle. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, so you do a football tackle, and you can say a tiny bit more. That's what you're aiming for next, I guess.
I'm also gonna try to swipe the key card that needs to be used to get in and out of doors from him.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Okay, so that brings us to the third round, whereby, once again, both of you will roll your dice. Cassie, you still have your advantage die. Plus, I will say, if you want to use that banked advantage die immediately, you can, or you can hold on to it. When you use it, it's only for this conflict, though. So up to you if you want to hold on to it for the next conflict or another conflict, or if you want to use it in this one.
Okay. Do I have to do that?
You have to decide before you roll if you're going to use it or not.
I'm not going to use it.
Okay, so yeah, you're just still rolling one advantage die.
Ooh, 8.
Okay, let's see here. So Casa has got a 10, and once again, Alyssa has got a 5. You're rolling a lot of 5s tonight as your results. Okay, and third round. This means once again it's the third round, so Casa's going to win outright at this point, unless you decide you want to push, Alyssa, if you want to push the conflict. So that is totally up to you. So third round. But what happens first, you made it to the third round, Alyssa, so you're going to adjust your die type down to a D8.
Okay.
So that's the that's there on the on your thing there, where you can change it to a D8. And you just sort of select thing, and it goes down to a D8.
Got it.
And awesome. And then that also being the case, where we go next is you decide if you want to push. Do you want to push to another? Actually, can you? You can't. The crime grid is full. You can only go in one direction. Well, almost full. You can only go one step. So actually, in order to see how many rounds you can push, let me just check. Wait. Let me think about this real quick. Yeah, I think that. Let me look at the rule real quick. Player may choose to push the conflict into one more round that follows. This is done after any die type adjustments. A type must have been made. Player who pushes may change the conflict to a violence conflict. A conflict may only be pushed a limited number of times based on the current state of the grid. Determine how many times you can push the conflict. Find the longest unbroken straight line of empty spaces that leads away from the witness's current location. A line also ends if it reaches the end of crime. Count the length of the line measured in spaces. The player can push the conflict a number of times equal to the length of the line. Okay, so you can push once if you want. It is entirely up to you how you want to do this. So, Alicia, do you want to push the conflict? Yes or no, basically.
Sure.
You're going to push the conflict. Okay. Do you want to change it to a violence conflict or keep it as a standard conflict?
I guess we'll keep it standard.
Okay. So, you're pushing the conflict, which means we're going one more round. So that means that the answer that was rolled. I'm sorry, I'm just looking real quick, because that's why I needed to figure it out. I'm trying to remember who rolled twice just now. Was
Twice.
that?
Oh. I
That
rolled
was-
2 d6s instead of just one.
Oh no, No, it was Casa, wasn't it? I think, or was it? What have we got? Did I jump ahead?
So it was.
Did I not let
think
someone
there was
answer?
2.
You got a 5. Alyssa, was that your first time rolling this round?
I think so.
Okay. So actually, I apologize. I did it again. We're not quite sure. Alyssa, well, we already know things. We're good. You actually get to answer.
Okay.
You get to answer. So there's again, I apologize. I missed the challenge and answer because I was too excited. So Casa, tell me what your challenge is this scene. You haven't had a chance to, or this last round. So before we do any pushing, what do you think?
So this is before.
Yeah, we haven't ended yet. Remember,
you tackled the guard,
Yeah.
and you were
I
gonna
tackled
try
the
to
guard.
swipe the key card.
Yeah.
Maybe a chat. Oh no.
So that's already happening. So just what's the next little thing that happens? The next as this conflict continues.
As he's struggling with me, I'm gonna elbow him in the face and just try to knock him out so that they're both not
Okay.
bothered, and then I can run.
Okay. So Alyssa, now you pick up your dice and you're rolling again.
Okay.
So that we can get your answer.
Okay. Do I roll the d8?
No, you're rolling a d10 still, because you haven't actually lost this round yet.
We
My
haven't gotten
apologies.
that far yet.
Yeah, because I almost did it again, but thankfully not so much. Okay, so that's a 3.
Yep.
So once again,
Casa wins.
so things play out. So things play out just that way. But are you still pushing? Because you totally can. If you're pushing, then that'll tell us how you narrate this. How you narrate your answer.
Sure.
Okay, so that means you're still in the conflict. Essentially, we're going to one more round. But what happens in a way that that Casa wins the advantage?
So, when you're sparring with somebody and you get hit in the face, the guard now has like the watery eyes, probably gonna have a good shiner, is still trying to fight back and hasn't lost consciousness, but definitely struggling.
Okay. All right.
Maybe he's got blood in his eye.
Possibly Echo is getting ready to throw that paperweight.
Nice. Okay. So we go to one more round, the push round. And this means, once again, now you're down to a D8.
Okay.
And you're both at D8s. And Bliss, you still have the advantage. You still have the advantage die, so we roll one more time. That is a roll.
That's
Wow. Okay.
14.
So that's a 14. So once again, what is your challenge on this final extra round? We're almost going for broke here. I don't think she can get higher than an 8, but we are observing the rules.
Yeah.
So you're gonna win. But what's your challenge right now?
Yeah, the guard's gonna try to. Oh, maybe the guard that I had knocked out before tries to like get up and is like coming after me, but then I don't know. Then Echo. Can I narrate someone else's action or just?
You're the winner. You get to narrate the whole thing now.
Yeah, basically, well, you're gonna, but
Echo just kind of knocks him out with the paperweight, and the guy falls on me, and then I kind of just slam into the guy underneath.
Awesome.
Or something. No, like my forehead or something. Just accidental.
Oh no, do we want to go through the motions of Alyssa rolling, or shall we conclude?
Just to see what happens.
Yeah, if you want, just to see what the number on the die is, I guess. It's a 6. That is still considerably less than.
Yeah.
That is considerably less than a 14.
Still win.
Less than half of a 14. So you win outright, which means that basically, this being the final round, you get to your answer. What happens in your answer? You get to say how you go down.
Oh,
Alyssa.
So Echo knocks the one guard out with the paperweight, and then she kind of goes over and grabs Bliss and pulls her up and just sort of kicks the other guard while he's down.
Awesome. And so, Casa, you can tell us how this scene ends. Basically, you get to tell us what happens at the end of the scene.
I'm gonna grab the key card and
You get out of the building? What?
Yeah,
you have power right now. What do you want to do?
Then just grab Echo's hand and just kind of sprint and turn corner and swipe through, and the elevator doors or something kind of closes as we leave.
Okay. All right.
Or yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we good? Okay. That is the end of that scene then. Therefore, we are at the end of the chapter. So you may go ahead and move the pawn there, move the witness.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And now you may type a name in that box.
Twist.
Ah, that's true. There was some suspicion going on. All right. So, that means that authority moves to Lloyd. And are you ready? I'm sorry? Can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Let's do it.
Awesome, awesome. If we're ready to jump into the next chapter, let's do it.
All right.
Hey.
Tessa, what would you like?
Ooh.
Just a facility. You gotta get some questions answered. This is the last, probably the last but one scene before we end.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to reveal something that is relevant at some point.
Revelation scene?
Well, I mean, you could do that if you want. Now, keep in mind, revelation and reflection scenes do not end the chapter, so you can keep going basically after those, and then you do another sequence in the same chapter. But yeah, right now you could ask for a revelation scene if you want to just connect two characters in some way. You find something out, or you can ask for a reflection scene, which he cannot block if you want to get your die type back. But keep in mind, everyone gets their dice back if you do that.
Yeah, I'll do a reflection. Yeah, that's what it's
You're going to do a reflection sequence. Okay.
Ooh.
So the reflection sequence, basically, again, as a reminder, the way that works, that is basically the investigator can depict the sort of effort as you're trying to... working on a case can wear on an investigator. The contact with the grimier aspects of humanity is exhausting for both body and soul, and the unfolding case can challenge an investigator's sense of justice, mercy, or humanity. The investigator experiences the sense of exhaustion as the opponents wear away your die pool. So you just narrate a short scene showing the effects of the case on the investigator, and the investigator player has jurisdiction over the entire sequence, and the only way that any of their narration may be challenged is by appeal. So we're not declaring a crime or conflict during this reflection sequence. And at the end of it, everyone refreshes their dice pools. And this, in a typical noir scene, this would be like someone's driving in the rain, or going to a bar and drinking, or just having a moment, just staring out a window, having reflection. So it's that kind of thing where you're like taking a second to reset or recharge. So there we are.
I'd be with Echo at her place. Got bottles of drinks. She's put some really loud, like, jazz record on, and I'm just freaking out, and like this is way bigger than I thought it would be, but I didn't know what I was thinking anyway, and I'm trying to calm myself down, and also trying to reassure Echo, so if a lot's going on, and I guess then at that time we could check out the tapes, or
no,
that's not an investment.
Well, that's going to be another sequence, which you can then propose as the next one if you like.
Okay.
And is there anything else that happens in the reflection scene, or is that it?
Am I supposed to reveal what I reflect, or is that Lloyd?
You can if you want, but that's
Yeah, I think you get full narrative control here, so you can do whatever you want to put in.
yeah.
You could even start to solve half of the mystery. I think it's up to you, right?
Yeah, I think this is the first time Bliss has sat down.
Yeah.
And tried to piece together everything she catches. It's like, oh, on it now, and then it keeps going, and she gets.
Yeah, I think things have just been happening after happening.
Yeah.
So this is the first moment, Bliss sat down, centered, and think. Now let's take a look at the evidence.
Yeah. And just to kind of sprinkle in what she's thinking. Bliss is thinking about who hired her, which side hired her to steal, to find the tape, why the government side is acting so antsy towards it, and so she kind of has an idea of what's on the tape, in the sense that it's either something that the underground is trying to hide, or it's something that the government is trying to hide, and she thinks it's the government. This is just all theory. Yeah.
Could be both, because we saw the judge advocate working with someone from the underworld.
Oh, right. Yeah, also to connect those, she figures that the judge advocate was the one that killed McCarthy. Can I say that now?
Oh, you can say that that's what you're speculating right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She guesses that
we can point the finger at anyone we want. We just don't know whether that'll be true or not until we land on it.
Lloyd shaking his head like, oh. Yeah.
We'll get there. Stay with us. We're almost there.
I'm with you. Fine. I'm not falling asleep yet. We're good. We can get to the screens.
Yeah. So, to cover up, or to make sure that no one can figure out what's on the tapes, because it's bad for them. It's bad for the government. And yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Okay.
Perhaps. Yeah.
And so now you get to propose another sequence, and again, Lloyd's still the authority.
Oh, okay.
Am I still the authority?
You are still the authority. Oh yeah, and everyone gets your dice back. So everyone's back up to a D10.
Yay!
Nice.
Yeah.
Full. Okay. Investigation on the tapes. Now that we're back and chilling, I'd like to listen to the tapes. Or Bliss would like to listen to the tapes.
All right. So what item were you using to listen to the tapes?
Echo has a cassette player that plays tapes.
Okay. So, how do I phrase this? So you're in the back rooms in a secluded, quiet place where you're hoping security won't come and find you. Mostly because you don't have much time left. You've got to listen to what's on the tapes and get it done. Echo has this little cassette player that goes direct, that one opens up and goes in. They can slot back into place, and it plays on these large speakers that are next door that McCarthy hooked up maybe a few years ago before his poor and unfortunate passing. Mm-hmm. Everything's basically set up and ready for it to go. All you have to do is press play.
You ready? Let's see what all of this is about. Click.
I have an idea of what I want to do for this scene, but I don't know if I have the authority to say what's on the tapes, because that's technically solving a case, isn't it?
Well, we still remember the crime is theft. So we don't know who took the tapes yet necessarily. We know that whichever this one is, that they were interested in one. I gave them 3 because McCarthy I think does this trade a fair amount of time. Of course, the tape might just have might just have riders in the sky on it for all we know, but that's was the signaling thing where it's someone sends. We said this last time that someone sends. That's why Echo had that album, so she would know to look out for that title. But what's actually on the tape is probably the conversation if you go to the right place. So you can say
I know what I want to put on the tape.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether it's bad for me to do that or not.
As long as it's not absolutely definitive who committed one of these 3 crimes, the theft, the theft of the one tape, the murder of McCarthy, or the blackmail of Complex. You can absolutely implicate anyone for anything else you like.
Oh, that's great. The tape is going to start. Well, I'm going to just say it right now. The tape is going to start with music playing, which at first everyone's going to be like, well, that's all it is. And then Cassandra's voice is going to come back and say that on the tape, saying that that's her favorite song. And she is being intimate with someone from the criminal section. I want to make it Bull, because that means that in this scene, we cut to the tape playing and it's Cassandra and Bull being intimate. Whether this was a few years ago, bad, it's still a massive hit on her male run to be seen like that. And it's something that Bull wouldn't want to get out because a massive compromise to his job.
And also, everyone would be shocked and disgusted that Cassandra has a sex life.
Also that.
Also that.
So,
everyone learns that against their will.
So that's what I would like it to be. Is everyone, I mean, that's a bit intimate. Is everyone okay with that?
Are we okay?
Yeah.
I'm good.
This is okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's just me doing
Cool.
that. Yeah.
The tape starts to play, and at first, when you first hear it, you dismiss it as a simple tape playing until you realize the song that's playing is a little bit off and bit off kilter. Like the recording is another recording.
Yeah.
More like someone recording a microphone of a song being playing. It doesn't take long until Echo is able to identify the song as Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But as the music starts to die down, two voices can be heard talking intimately with each other in the background. That's your cue, you two. Good luck.
Okay. Do we want to? Is this before or after?
We don't have to put details on that.
Yeah, we have a veil on sexual intimacy, so we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah,
that specifically.
I guess
but yeah.
let's say it's like the pillow talk kind of thing.
All right.
So it's, you remembered my favorite song.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. That's. I mean, it's what it's one of the reasons I knew I could connect with you. You know. It's always
I bet you say that to everyone.
One more thing. Cassandra, this is the last night you can be with him. You are cutting it off tonight. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't say that to everybody. I mean, I got things, you know. True, some of the folks from before do have songs, things that remind me, but this one's particularly. I mean, you appreciate stuff like this, and it's hard to find someone who does, honestly. You get it, you know?
There's kind of like a kind of release sign. It's just like, I will so miss your sweet words, you know?
Am I going somewhere?
No, but I am. There's just too much risk between us. Someone like me can't be seen with someone like you.
Thought you weren't worried about any of that.
That was before our little arrangement.
I mean, you know I know how to be covert. I got guys for this.
Please, I don't trust your organization as much as I trust anyone who works for me. Besides, this is for the better. This just doesn't work. I think there's like the sound of like, I guess maybe like clicking heels or something across.
Cassie, don't do this.
I'm sorry. It's the way it is. I think maybe the sound of the music will
Yeah.
start playing again over.
The sound starts to get a bit louder. There is a sound of a door being shut, but then almost immediately afterwards, there's a sound of furniture being thrown around the room, sound of things breaking, someone screaming in anger and frustration halfway through before the music abruptly cuts off.
Citizen Kane.
That's perfect. Mwah.
Is that the scene, or is there
Ooh,
more that happens in the
right.
scene?
I mean, I want to see what I haven't seen their reaction yet. I don't want to cut
Yeah,
them
no.
off when they're like,
Sure, sure.
because there might be coming up a plan or what they want to do with the information.
Well, that took me off by surprise. I thought it would be worse than that, but I mean, all of this just because of pride, I guess, and status. Ugh. This planet is toxic in every sense of the word. I've got a bit of an idea, but did you know about this, Echo?
I heard some gossip.
Then they weren't hiding it very well, anyways. But should the whole planet? I mean, you've been here longer than I have. You know what would happen if that came out. Would the world implode?
Well, you know, she's up for re-election soon.
So my thoughts go straight to revolution, or like if this keeps going on.
It'd be that serious, but could set her back a few steps.
Yeah.
Open the door for someone else to wedge their foot in.
Yep. We talk as plainly as possible, right? You work for them. What are they like? Do you think they could do a good job of running Nuko?
I don't trust anybody at the top, sugar.
Right.
Power corrupts. Most people, they get a taste of it, they want more.
Could we, I'm just thinking, could we use what we know to make things better, to fix Nuko, and if it needs fixing? Or I mean, I don't know if this is case closed, but it's kind of, to me, it's obvious who stole it or who tried to steal it.
I won't say that change is impossible. It's always possible. It's gonna be a process to undo these structures that we have in place.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a lot of people in high places that are gonna fight to keep those structures in place.
Mm-hmm.
But This could be a spark.
Yeah. I think I don't know, but it seems like it's not. Do you want this to be a democratic world? Do we not like these people? I think yeah.
Currently everything is based off of is it status we said before? Like everything is very status, so
Yep.
this is something that could destroy the statuses of two major ends of this world.
Yeah, and it's like right in our hands.
Will change things for a lot of people. Some for the better, some for the worse. It could be a bit of an equalizer. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Right. Just drop it in and see if they can turn the tides for their own benefit. Whoever.
I'd like to remind the detective that they were hired to get this tape back, not distribute it to the world. In case they've forgotten that was a job they were supposed to be doing.
No, but I got it back for Echo, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Echo has the tape.
So technically, your hands are wash free of this, so you can do it.
Yeah, but then we're trying to figure out what to do with it.
Like, bye, Echo, I'm done! See ya!
But if you have a chance to be someone high up in a planet, because right now it's like political manipulation. Like we're trying to figure out who's the winning.
If only there was a person who political manipulation was their specialty.
Right.
I'd like to point out that people have died for this tape, so everyone you share it with is probably going to die too. Just put that one out too. Just in case before you try to pass it to Artie, just keep that in mind.
That's why we're trying to me and Echo are trying to figure out what to do with it.
I believe in you. You got this.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to end the scene in a bit. But I want to give you like a chance to talk it out before I end it.
Okay. I think there are pros and cons to anything we do. So, and I mean, I did finish my job. You hired me to find them, and
you did.
Yeah.
And you know what I'd do? I would either tell both sides I have it and see which of them would pay me more money to keep it a secret and possibly get killed. Or I would release it to the public and let the chips fall where they may.
Yep.
And that's why I asked you here, Sugar. I've been in this system for too long. I don't trust myself. But you got out. You have got a heart of gold.
And I think that's the place to end the scene, actually. I did not define. Scene over.
Good.
Oh, the camera pans to both of their hands off to the sides of the table and the tape player right in the middle.
Okay. So you get to go ahead and you get to move the that pawn down to the remaining space, and you get to put a name in there.
I think we all know whose name is going in the box. Oh, but then that's like the 4th time her name has come up, so
it's okay.
I feel like she's going to be guilty of some things. It's up to you. All right. So, I would recommend so ordinarily, there'd be we'd shift over and there'd be one more chapter where we don't know anything. But I would recommend we go ahead and we jump ahead to crime resolution, get one answer before we bow out for the night. What do you say?
How long is that going to take? Because it's already 11:43 and I'm kind of flagging.
Oh, well, no, it's well, that's what I'm saying is that we just hop to no time at all. Actually, we're rolling dice. That's it.
Okay, let's do it. Let's go.
Is what I'm thinking. So then next session we
yes,
have like
you can go use the bathroom and come back.
Yeah, how did you know?
Go.
Go.
Gotcha.
So she is supposed to roll some dice now.
Let's use the bathroom. Might as well get over numbers.
Oh, I mean, yeah, no, that's still yes. The answer was correct. But I'll just briefly go over how this works, just so that we have that. So at the end of a chapter, normally, so if you move the witness one space for each exchange, okay, no conflict. Move the witness one space, and you write down a character name in the final space, which we've done, reflecting suspicions that arose during the previous chapter. Now, if the witness, let's see, if you cannot make a legal move, which is where we would be going, like in one scene, but I would recommend, since we're going to need, like, probably 3 scenes to figure out the for final resolution of each of these, which we're going to do next time. I'd recommend cutting that last scene out, so we just go directly to the next bit, which is if you cannot make a legal move, crime resolution occurs. You roll. It says 1 red die and 1 die of another color, which is basically you notice on the crime grid, you have a vertical column and you have a horizontal column. And so you have that. So basically, you roll 2 dice to see where that lands, and then you move the witness to that space as indicated by the die. And if there's a name in that space, that character committed one of the crimes. You choose an unresolved crime and write the selected character's name down in the perpetrator space of that crime. And so that's kind of how that works. So, and again, Bliss may not know the answer yet. So what I was wondering is, do we think that that then we should go ahead to that point, just to that crime resolution, where basically Casa rolls a couple of dice and we see who it is before we do any more scenes, which we'll do next time?
Roll some dice.
All right, so Casa.
Yeah.
So you're going to be rolling 2d6s. I would recommend the first one be the vertical column and the second one be the horizontal column. Would you be good with that?
Can you repeat where the horizontal?
Okay. So
the crime grid.
Right, on the crime grid.
Got it. So first is horizontal.
So first I was saying first is vertical. But
Okay.
I mean, if you want the first to be horizontal, it can be horizontal. I'm good. Just let me know which it is before you do it.
First is vertical. Second is horizontal.
All right. Let's see where you land. What it is.
Okay. Well, do I roll them at the same time?
You can totally. It's so it's just we'll look at the dice and we'll see which one's the first one and which one's the second one.
Well, I thought they roll at the same time.
That's no worries. Okay, so the first one is a 2.
Twice. Yeah, and the second one is.
You're on this column, and a 4, which is here. Sergeant Lynn.
Wow.
Please place the
Which
pawn
crime
on
was
Sergeant Lynn.
Okay.
So, Sergeant Lynn, Casa, is guilty of one of these 3 crimes: the theft, the murder, or the blackmail. Which of these crimes is Sergeant Lynn guilty of? You get to pick. You're doing the crime resolution.
The murder. That's why she was freaking out about it afterwards. I don't know how fast she could have gone up and out, but yeah, I feel like.
Well, she could have set something up in advance to cause it to happen, possibly. Or there are a number of ways out of this. 1, could have set something up in advance. 2, possibly that's not actually even McCarthy, and so something else happened. But so that could be the case. Or 3, it's. I think the most likely thing is that Sergeant Lynn set it in motion and then it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, which is why Sergeant Lynn was then at the base of the, was then under the dome when it happened. Does that sound reasonable to folks?
I think they could have made it up and down.
I
think there was plenty of time because there was a crowd.
I think I think there's a web here where Sergeant Lin was maybe coerced into killing McCarthy by Mercy.
I'm actually going
to
go
how
against
could they
that.
be so close to the? How could they both be so close to the scene of the crime?
Just there.
I'm with
shopping.
you, but I think we are doing Sergeant Lin's crazy obsession a disservice if we do it that way. My idea, however, is that after Mercy leaves, while Mercy's going downstairs, Sergeant Lin is like, "You know something? Tell me something." McCann's like, "No, I don't. I don't know what you're talking about." Sergeant Lin gets really angry and accidentally pushes him out the building. Because they're obsessed in solving this case.
In a rage, throws him through the window.
Because we need one crime of passion. One crime of passion.
We just need to figure out how, if it's a crime of passion, the only thing we need to figure out is how and why they were outside the tower, because that window is supposed to be reinforced and theoretically not openable. I think that Darcy established that something had happened to the window, though. I would propose that maybe they did something. Maybe there's a thing they can do. Like after Mercy, this is speculation. Say after Mercy finishes boxing everything up, right? And Sergeant Lin is there, and they get it, and they want to get. They're like, okay, hang on. There's a way that they can talk outside. They just put on masks, or something to headgear to protect them for just a few moments while they stand outside and talk about it. Maybe there's like a balcony or something outside of the of that window. And then they go outside, and then the crime of passion happens.
I also my thought process kind of behind when I initially dictated the scene was kind of it's regular glass. What is protecting outside is it's an energy kind of field that's protecting it. So when McCarthy
there's
was
a
boxing
space
up
where
everything,
you can just stand there.
Maybe the security was turned off. Say they turned off the security when they were initially interrogating him. So maybe mistakenly or on purpose, the environmental controls were switched off also.
I don't think it even needs to be that complicated. We can just say there's a zone created by it.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have the ivy-like stuff climbing up it, though. That's the only thing. Lloyd
guys, everyone. We need to Phoenix write this. We're thinking too small. If the box doesn't fit the crime, the box needs to be big enough to fit the crime. What if he was already dead before he hit the ground? What if the struggle happened and McCarthy was killed and Sergeant Lin went, "I need to do something," was like, short the thing, push him out, turn it on, run downstairs.
Yeah, that's doable.
There you go.
You gotta Phoenix write this shit.
That makes sense.
That was excellent. Yeah.
That is
perfect.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Because we never investigated the body and he fell from a great height and the thing would have poisoned his body so you couldn't see it well. So no sign would have been done of that.
Yes. Oh my god, sorry. I need
Cool.
to fill this into the flowchart.
Awesome. So, Darcy, remember this for next week, because you will be the authority.
Here we go.
When we get going. And I think then that we are good to end it for today.
Yay!
Very good. Awesome. Excellent. All right.
Excellent.
Excellent. We have come to the end of our time. So I think this is very cool. We only got 2 scenes in, but I think we're coming apace. So this is going to be really cool. All we have next time are crime resolution related scenes. So I think this is going to be cool. All right, folks. Well then, that being the case, let us go around and do our outros. Feel free to tell folks where they can find you and any final thoughts you have for this session. Next week is going to be our finale. and I'm very excited for that. All right, so feel free to start. We're going to go ahead and start once again with Casa.
Hello, it's me, Casa. You can find me on wilding_ on Twitter, and I have a podcast, wildlands.podbean. But today was just kind of wrapping up everything, and I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the last one. I mean, I can't wait for it, but also like it's interesting to see how everything will all link up. And I know that looking back on these notes, when I first look back in like a year or two, I'm just gonna be like, whoa, what happened? And it's just gonna be great just to look back and remember all this fun that I had. Yeah, Wednesdays won't be the same again.
Aww.
I know, they won't.
Awesome. Excellent. And now we will head over to Darcy.
Hey guys, I'm Darcy at OG Hijabi Barbie on Instagram for cosplay and makeup related content. I have been, this actually campaign has got me writing a bunch more as well, because it has been great brainstorming with all these lovely storytellers and crafting a really cool world and a really cool concept. And yeah, the scribbles and like the crazy flow charts I've been drawing is like it's the red tape on a but it reminds me very much of the Las Vegas campaign that I played with you. I think that was one of the first campaigns I played with you. That or Dirty Secrets. And I just I found the notebooks recently and did look back at them and think, wow, those are some crazy scribbles.
Oh, wow.
It was the story has been fun, and I'm gonna miss it. I know it's actually gonna be really sad when the finale happens. Might wear black just to signify the event.
I think it is hysterical also that we did a one shot of Dirty Secrets, and then later we did the Las Vegas campaign.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of hysterical that in Las Vegas we also had characters who had been together and it didn't work out.
There was a wild twist with that game.
That is true. Awesome, excellent, and I can't believe you have a flowchart. That's wonderful. I didn't realize.
It's like everything's connecting.
It is, right? All right, and now over to Lloyd.
Hi, I'm Lloyd. I'm a little tired as always as we get close to midnight as we continue. I love you all, but I'm also looking forward to sleeping. And that's all I got.
Well, I'm sure you shall be wrapped within the arms of Morpheus soon. Excellent. Thank you for hanging out. That was actually a very cool scene, though, man. I really appreciate it. And finally, over to Alyssa.
I have been your friendly virtual spinner of yarns and teller of tall tales. You can find me on the internet at Shawl Tales. And this is currently the only thing I have going on, but perhaps sometime between now and next Wednesday, I will actually record Echo's song that tells the dramatic tale of all of this, so that I can share it with you on the internet.
That would be great. The lyrics are bomb.
Yeah, and I will be back here next week, looking forward to seeing how everything else unravels.
Yes. Excellent. No, that is wonderful. And also, I mean, yeah, I didn't realize when you mentioned you were writing a song when you put it up. You just posted a few lyrics in our private chat, and I was like, I should have seen this coming. First of all, I'm actually not surprised, but I also am overjoyed and surprised. It's just wonderful. But no, this whole thing is it's really been a delight to see how all this goes. I'm excited for us to get to our crime resolution scenes that we're gonna do next time, and that'll wrap up our narrative. And so I think this is going to be very cool, and I really appreciate your folks going the extra mile to do all this, especially those of you who are an ocean away. So thank you all so much, and I can't wait till next week. So, who am I? I am Jim Ryan. Let me before I even talk to you about who I am though, let me link the games that we've been using once again. We've been using Dirty Secrets by Seth Ben-Ezra for the frame of the story that we're telling. We've used Durance by Jason Morningstar to create the planet and its way station, and we have been using the conflict rules from In a Wicked Age by the Vincent Baker on this online version of the game. And so please check out all of those. I am Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and various other things. Let's see. On this channel, on Saturdays, when we have folks available, Saturday evenings, I run a game of Invisible Sun, The Edge of Paradox, where we have all manner of surreal things happening. And then on Wednesdays, we have this for one more session. And I cannot wait to see what happens. I'm very excited. Okay, well, when we hit the end card, we're going to send a raid. There are a couple of possible folks we can send a raid to. I see that LB Hackemup is doing some stuff. I see Dread Void Witch is doing some stuff. So we'll probably go and raid one of them. Feel free to hang on if you are so inclined and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.